See. All right, there we go. All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Cardano Builders Check-in. It is Monday, August 22nd, 2022. We are a group where current and future builders on and off Cardano check in and inform one another what we are building, celebrate each other's wins, keep each other accountable by being accountability buddies, and provide support and actionable advice. So to accomplish these goals, we have this check-in format in small groups. We share concisely what it is we are building and also answer a few prompts. So everyone answers what they have accomplished recently with their project, what's next, and what kind of help they desire. So one individual answers these questions first. The listeners should take notes for clarifying questions, suggestions, etc. Right? So we have a discussion around it after the prompts have been answered. So depending on group size, the focused discussion, including answering the prompts and the 30 seconds or so pitch, should last between 7 to 10 minutes per project. And also, please be mindful of the info provided, except for the first update during these events. These group discussions should not be recorded. Also, treat the information per default as confidential. Of course, we are building in community, which is a little bit different than building in public. So we encourage dialogue, but please ask for permission to discuss anything related to what has been disclosed in these group discussions beyond the setting, of course, right? So before I hand it off to Juan for his public update this week, here's a brief announcement. We created a Cardano Builders Discord server. There we have a dedicated check-ins channel, which can also be used for follow-up discussions. But again, be mindful of any confidential info that was shared, right? We are also migrating from the Catalyst School Discord, so thank you for that, to that hosted so far the Haskell Coffee course. We are migrating that over to the Cardano Builders Discord server as well as we're closing out the course, but of course still want to provide support there as well. And we also have an Ideathon channel, which you definitely should check out, as it may help you get some more ADA into your hands to build out your idea into a product or building it out even further. And there's this deadline coming up soon, this Friday. But the submission process is fairly straightforward. So yeah, but now let's hear from the one. Juan, how is it going?
Hey, Matthias, thank you much for the space. I think it's awesome to be here, and it's something that we needed. We were, all of us that have ideas in process of. We needed a space like this. So thank you for that. And yes, my project, oh no, no, my project, no, my idea has to do with something related, which is behind the scenes. It's called Balance, Balance IO, Balance Inside Out, and by balance in out if you want to talk code, but if you want to talk humans, it's inside out. Everything is start from inside. In that perspective, then let me see if I can share my how do I do that here? Where do I share?
So in your controls, it should be the third from the left. So you have your mute, unmute, you have
Super.
your start, stop camera, and then you can have screen sharing options there.
Got it. Done. Is it visible? Let me just put it to percent.
Yes, I can see
Okay.
your
So we
presentation.
have a logo now. Yeah. I think it's something that we had. A friend of mine who was involved in the project as far as information, related information. We were playing around, and I always use in my office a roller and also a ball, and things connected. And I told him this is very simple. He did it in a different way. So now we came up with this one. And then we added inside out as part of the important thing for us. And it's not in and out, it's not coding, it's the other way around. It's us. How we connect with coding. So I think it's a huge gap there because technology is evolving in a speed that we humans can reach, and that's the biggest thing now. Fourth industrial revolution comes with that load of perspective, if I can say it that way, and it is reflected by what Nori Nishigaya said in one of the books that he was preparing for or reading, and I'm going to read that. For the first time in history, we have instantaneous access for the world's knowledge. There has never been a better time to learn, to contribute, and to improve ourselves. Yet, rather than feeling empowered, we are often left feeling overwhelmed by this constant influx of information. The very knowledge that was supposed to set us free has instead led to paralyzing stress of believing we'll never know or remember anything or nothing or enough. And this is just one part. The other part is a bigger. It has a bigger perspective, which is our environment, how we always feed from outside to inside, and try to you know make ourselves uh, portray and do things that we are not able to do. So that's the biggest gap. So that's the problem. And then I just already mentioned it. It's been this last 40 years, the 20, 30 years have been a tremendous development in technology. And if we go to history, we see that the technological revolution took 70 years for us to be here. The agricultural revolution took 12,000 years, and now we are in the scientific revolution, which is 500 years ago started. So, with that perspective, we have to embrace the fact that we are not able to catch up with uh, with technology the way it's supposed to. I mean, the way it is growing. So it's important for us to reset and start from the beginning, from inside out. Every morning, every moment, dedicate at least 1 hour for 20 minutes for praying or relaxing or meditation, 20 minutes for exercising, and 20 minutes for reading. Something like that. That one of the members of the panel that we did with Latam recommended. I think it's very accurate, and that's something that we can afford 1 hour a day for ourselves. Now we come back to kind of the diagram of the whole thing, which is basics. Starting here to start reading with basics. Um, Always look for nature, the clues that nature provides us. Try to resemble nature, and then understand our body and the brain and what our brain needs to in order to function correctly, and establish a life perspective, kind of we cannot be hard on ourselves, because we as humans we can always fail. We always can achieve things, but some other things not. So we have to kind of play like see life like a game, and with that, learning is key. It's a very important part of this revolution. We are now in the meritocratic revolution, which is everything has to do with merit, and for that we need to understand that there are things that we cannot do just because of, and then embrace that as a game. For that also, we need to think about the quality and the frequency, the things that we do on the basics, which are what we eat, sleep, things like that. The things that we can control. Physical activity and make things, kind of like a game per se. That's just, you see. Okay, I have it here in the different graphics. So everything starts with you. There are factors that you can control, the habits, what you eat, how much and what you sleep, physical activity, and mindset, which is very important. How you see the world is key because the world is the way you see it. Like, we have to be very um, aware of that because that is what defines our outcomes. And then there are things in life that we just cannot do because time doesn't allow us. We just have to delegate it or team up with someone else or postpone, right? And then that with that in a set up in the right place, we end up with the right output, or we set up the right input to produce the right output. And with that, we can start thinking about doing anything we want. But I think it's key for that to be aware of that. We need to be hyper realistic. One of the things that I believe that I got from the book Principles from Rick Dalio is that we be hyper realistic, know exactly what is around us, and you know the skills and what we have been born with, and also what things that we acquire in life through education and our habits and perspectives, right? And then be radically open-minded in terms of looking at everything that is around us as an option. It's not always the way we do it, but it allows other opportunities and options to do things. One of the things that I enjoy the most of being involved in these circles and Cardano is the fact that I always involve with people that always I have to look up to. The four of you, I mean, everybody that is here is people that teach me all the time. So I am kind of willing to learn and absorb. At the same time, eventually there will be things that I will be able to provide as well. But it's that feeling of all the time learning and having that open mindset to options. And at the end, it has to do with being radically transparent, which is a process, and it's not easy because it has to do with doing the things that we are not comfortable doing, and that kind of assess exactly what we have, tangible, the assets that we have, and with that knowledge, you can start building up. But you cannot build up assuming that you are this when you are not. And the simple example is coding. I mean, it's not my case. I didn't know anything about coding at all. I mean, I was involved. I liked it a lot. Not that I know now a lot, but I'm there. I'm exposed. I'm challenging myself. I just been, you know, and that's the way things build up. And to now let's go. Those were my 30 seconds. Now, what we have built with us that did all this presentation, we have presented twice, and also we had the logo. I think it's an achievement. We defined it, we had it, but we just put it together and were able to do it. Next, well, one important thing is a little bit of clarity on the things, the perspective. I do have a lot of other projects that are important, very important, that I need to assess. One of them is doing helping with the translation for Jimbo Labs material. It is key, but I need to be ready for that, and this is part of the process to be ready for that. So my desire is to start working on that and the needs, technologically, all the tools that you can find that you can tell me and you can suggest to start implementing and doing for these two projects will be thankful for that. And yeah, I mean, little by little, we have in this project we have my Twitter account. I put together a Twitter community that has two members. So you guys are welcome to come as well. And I don't know what we do with that, but it's there. Also, we have a website that needs to be that needs to be implemented, and I invite everybody to come and build with us. So thank you, Matthias. So it's done.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for
How
the
do I stop this?
Presentation. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing while we were still speaking, I looked at balance.io, and obviously that was taken. So it's like, what is the website?
Oh
uh,
no, it's not. It's balance. Excuse me, balanceio.org.
exactly, right.
Right.
So with only domains, great, great. Okay, so what I noticed, thank you for the presentation and the check-in. I did notice that your 30-second pitch was a little bit longer because you were
Yeah.
essentially going through the presentation, right? And I think that's fine. We're still developing, and this idea is also very much developing. And I kind of pushed you to do this check-in anyway. So my my main question though is, if you were to put a label on Balance.io, what would it be? Is it like a life coaching product? Are you going to do one-on-one mentoring? Are you going to provide all of the information on the website? I guess, if you have you arrived already at exactly what you want to build and label it that way? Because it seems like very, like, I mean, you and I talked about it in huge before, and from my perspective, and I think it's okay to share here as well because it's essentially part of the presentation, is that this balance is really, really important to you on a daily basis, right? So you think about it and you live it as much as you can. But looking at this particular project as part of the bigger pursuit of finding and maybe bringing balance also to other people, uh, how would you label this project? What is it? What you are building?
Good question. Um, I see that is something that the whole community needs. I think, I don't know what it takes. It takes coaching, or it takes mentoring, or just resources for people to come and go through them and understand and try to build up from those. I'm not, in reality, I'm not clear on that. I think the every time we read at the main town hall the mantra, I always see that that is missing. I understand that we like to be uncomfortable because that's why we are here. Knowledge has to be with uncomfort. Pain is important because when you reflect over pain, you get success. You get things done. But to a certain point, we are. I see that we are exceeding a little bit on that pain, and that's my point. That's my point. That I see people having a lot of capabilities and they feel frustrated, they feel overwhelmed, overwhelmed, and eventually what end up happening is frustration. People leave the community, or I have seen the cases, or just reject things, or in the other case, productivity gets affected. Besides balance in your own life, you utilize a lot of time in the wrong time to work on projects instead of delegating and thinking of other ways to maintain your peace of mind as the balance as the equilibrium part, of the KPI for the things that you have to do. I don't know if I'm able to explain that correctly, but I think this is something that is missing in the whole community. Not only the community, I mean, uh, and the society in general, but just and again, I don't know how to. I was able to pinpoint that, and because of I guess my background and what I read, but um, but I'm not able to say that it will be a coaching or a mentoring or program. I guess it's something that is there, and for people to use it. And it's not a project that I'm planning on doing. I mean, we could put together an idea and make it and go through the funding. Mm, but it's more like every funding needs this type of things. So that's why
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. So I have a reaction to that because from my perspective, I am very comfortable with being uncomfortable, but I also recognize that in a team environment, there are different levels of uncomfortableness that are tolerated, right? And it's not something that should be uh, not everybody needs or should be uncomfortable all the time. So, in a sense, a balance is needed, right? So, I would say you identified the problem. At least for me, it resonated very well when we were talking about. And often, we know what we need to do in order to balance things out. It's just
Mhm.
also sometimes a matter of doing it. Uh, but even some people do not know that. Taking those 20 minutes in the morning, whether it is engaging in religious, spiritual, or otherwise mindfulness practices, are really beneficial. Um, Yet a lot of people don't do it. They might talk about it, but whether they actually do it is another thing, right? So yeah, I would like to I would like for you to think about it a little bit more, and keep showing up, and um, think about, okay, how is it, in what way can I help people come to that balance? Because I also think the whole ecosystem, whether that be Cardano or the larger communities that we are part of, can benefit from as well. Um, so that's all I have to say about that. Unfortunately, we lost Dave right now. But Lucas or Victor, is there anything that you would like to ask Juan or comment on?
Yes, I would just like to comment that I think this is really very valuable to everyone in the community because being overwhelmed and burned out is something that's not an exception in our ecosystem. And I've been through this myself personally a few months ago. And it's very good to have something like this being built by the community here. So I was going to ask the same thing that Matthias has already asked. But the only thing that I would like to know as well is when do you plan to start providing this service uh, eh, or I mean, or the service or the product for the community? Is it soon? Is it happening already?
Right, quick question. It's not, and that's the thing. It's not that I've been thinking about this since Fund 3 when I had my first proposal, which was a triad, teacher, student, and parent. And the relationship between the three of them, I couldn't really materialize a good uh, project. I mean, a good idea to. But I just put the idea on the. I call it my first project. But yeah, the when services, I think is it does the thing. It's not about providing services. It's actually more like come and help build, help provide. I mean, no help build, but yeah, come and build yourself out of this. The community is there. I mean, I don't have the capability to pay attention to it and to manage it and to same thing with the website. And so it doesn't, because my time, I don't have the time for that. I know it's important and it's there. So my kind of my take on that was like I put that available, and I had the courage, if I can call it that way, to expose that to the whole community. A website that is not even started. I mean, we got already the domain, but that's all. But if one of the things that I wanted to say is at the main town hall presentation was, if you see something that is missing, come and build it for you and for us, instead of expecting me to, or the team to build everything for you and have everything ready, because that's the thing. Sometimes our goals, we have to be very careful. Actually, as James was talking about that, and the last fire chair that he did with the Amorgo, he was talking about advising the present the project after the project is awarded. What do you do? And then one of the things that he was telling the audience was to be very careful not to get out of focus, because of people start saying, no, you should do this and that. I mean, it's there, and I just need to frame it in a way that it's not about me, it's about you. What do you think this thing needs? And if you think that something is there that may help you, come and build it, and then use it for you, or if it can help the community. In reality, I don't know how to put that as a message that gets to the community. Very good point.
Yeah, thank you. I even think that at some point, IOG realized that this was an issue, and this was one of the reasons that they've created the cooldown period between funds,
Oh,
because they
the knowledge
considered,
video? Yeah.
yeah, because at some point they actually the community went to them to say that it was very tiring to have to submit proposals every fund, and they don't even had any time to rest between funds, so they initiated this process. It was like a positive step.
Right. Yeah, and I do have the luxury of having some time that I'm sacrificing for doing other things. But in reality, the amount of time that people is putting into this is huge. Especially if you have a job, if you have a family, you have more kids, you have to pay there for all of them. And this hobby is awesome, but it's costly. And that direction. Yeah. So
Yes.
I don't know what you guys think. What would be a good way for me for us to put this available to the people not looking for Juan the one to be the one, but just for people to come and say, listen, I can pick from this and that, and perhaps reflect on certain things and try to adapt it to myself. I can, let's say, per se, someone that is very knowledgeable and skilled in website, just do a website and put, things like that. I mean, is what I'm thinking that could happen with this, instead of just expecting deadlines and perfection. And so for me, it was better not to say anything and keep that to myself, but I think it's valuable for the whole community. So now my challenge is to be able to bring across the community that is not about me, and but it's about you. Come and do whatever you think is important there. Is it very crazy to do it that way?
Right.
So,
So I guess the next steps are to find the people, or have the people build what is needed to be built.
yeah. Can I just
Um,
Right.
right. By the way, one question that we
I
get.
think Lucas was
Lucas
trying
is
to say
speaking.
something,
Oh, sorry.
but your microphone's a bit low, Lucas.
okay? Give
Oh,
me
I thought it was Lucas talking.
Sorry.
okay. Is it better now? Too loud?
Yes, now I can hear.
Good. Okay. I've been fiddling with Linux volumes. Sorry. So I was making some notes here, and I agree with what Matthias and Victor was saying. So we're just defining the problem and contemplating solutions. And I think for this forum exactly, I've seen this presentation I think twice before on other forums where it was really just outgoing and sharing this type of mentality and awareness. But here it's very interesting because we're really trying to give you feedback on what can the project be, what are you trying to do, and we're really talking about products and services. So one idea that I think Matthias mentioned was, well, I just scribbled a lot here right now, and I wrote pillars of the intervention. So what are the pillars of your intervention? I think that's what maybe we can discover as an initiative. And maybe obviously because of the ethos of the initiative, maybe it's not going to be exactly products and services and price tables and everything. I think what you're trying to put together is a bit more of a community to share things, right?
I think so. Yes.
So, but what I would, and this is something that I've worked on for years, like long years on associations, free work, like contributing to things, trying to build on previous people's work. So I would really suggest that you try to define a bit the pillars of your intervention, like I was calling them. And this can be as generic things. I could have written these about almost any topic, but it's like come to get the people that you are workshopping with to share tools, practices, to share knowledge, to share resources. If you start having these like sessions and start gathering, people that subscribe to this group and accumulate this, just in getting those contributions from everyone, like on a free talk like this one, we could just say, oh, for example, I meditate. Does someone else do other things? And we talk about them. Uh, I think what you're trying to build could grow a lot just by curating them, like being a bit structured in organizing them, making a page where you have links or articles or opinions or something. So yeah, so the focus of the three main topics that I have here on my sheet is really sharing tools and accumulating something, accumulating and curating what has been shared. And on the other side, you had already started defining sort of a model there where I think you mentioned you had students and teachers.
Well, that was a project, the Fund 3 project that I was idea that was put on the fund number 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that it always caught my attention because at that time I was the president for a PTA school, my daughter's school, middle school, and I was
Mm-hmm.
involved with that dialogue, all the time. So I see all the conflicts and the triad between
Okay.
that communication.
That
But that
actually
applies.
articulates with Matthias' project as well.
Got it. And guess what? I thought I was this morning I was running, and while that I was listening to principles, and I heard, and I was going through I think chapter number 5 or 6, and he was talking about that specifically. I mean, how conflict resolution, and I said, gee, this has a lot to do with conflict resolution as well. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but again,
So, yeah, coming back to these three vectors there, in the end, I wrote it a bit like what can you do or gather together with the group of participants, and as well coming now from the teachers or students or other profiles, what can you or each person that's participating be in the group? So you can have people that are just attending, you can have moderators, you can have mentors or leaders, or try to define those profiles a bit so that people can progress or find their way of mode of participating. And in the end, actually, I put a note here, like, for example, now I'm curious, who is with you? Who have you accumulated to this initiative so far? I know that you've been sharing a lot. And for example, I was just looking up the website. I've done websites for years. I can help you put up a page. So in a sense, you're now recruited me to, put in some pages in there, and very quickly, I noticed that you have the domain, so we can do that and then try to
super.
help accumulate. But I think that you should have that focus as well on trying to, especially because you define what you want to do, what roles people can take, then try to start accumulating people into these roles, like real names of real people. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
just my immediate feedback.
Very good. Thank you, Lucas. Yes, and then let me give you my take on that. Feedback is awesome. It's same as what Matthias mentioned and what Victor said. The reality is my time is not. I don't have the luxury of time as I wish in terms of dedicating time to let's say set up the roles and all that. I think that could be done organically. I mean, like the way I see it, because
Mhm.
the reality is I can say yes, 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 but then what?
It's
No
it's always going to
response.
be organic. We can try to force the organic to become more industrialized or whatever, or methodic, but it's always going to be organic. But in this case, I think you have the big advantage that if you are practicing the things yourself, for example, to start this repository of practices, resources, knowledge, and etc., you can just take it from your experience. So by practicing what you're trying to share, you're already helping to curate the content.
Right. Yeah, kind of documenting all the content. So
Yeah, start, for example, making some links about the practices that you're advocating,
exactly.
and
Another
we
point.
can have that on the website, for example, and have a forum there for people to give us feedback.
Super.
Yeah, try to
Great. Thank you,
create
Lucas.
synergies. Cheers. Thanks for sharing and for raising awareness for this.
Thank you. And no, and the thing is, I mean, once we establish that base, then many other things come because I see connection of course, with Jimbo Labs, with education, huge. I mean, I see a potential, I see the opportunities because the bottom line is that we need to feel good in order to build. If we don't, if we don't, we are not balanced, and like just repeating the word, I don't find any other, then it's
Mm.
tough. It's tough to build. And the same as looks it. There are many things that we can, the other one is DAOs. I was thinking about
Yeah.
DAOs. No, I don't. By the way, I don't. I'm not a fan of DAOs because of what they imply. Not that I don't like them, but I know they need to be built very carefully and with a lot of structure.
I,
So
I would say in a healthy way, no?
exactly, exactly.
Because I was thinking you were just talking about building and efforting too much. And if you're not healthy while you're building something, maybe you're going to build a product that is a bit unhealthy as well, or not as you know balanced. And
Right.
I think they have a lot of potential, but it's tricky.
Yeah, exactly. So if we are able to have that common base of balance, if I can use that word again, for the whole people the whole community that is building a DAO, that is building anything. I mean, results are going to be more predictable and more, and more. There will be more. And there will be better results. If I can just they say that way.
Great. Thank you so much again. So great, a lot of great updates. It was a
Thank you.
less of an update, less than the usual format, but I think it was still very valuable. And please make use of the Discord channel for follow-ups, so we can ideate on what we want to build, because it seems like we are all in agreement that this is very much needed. Okay, I'll stop the recording for now, but we're just getting started.